listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redline and lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin Mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-black we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. To win you need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Welcome to Reset Race, where we talk about race and politics and how those two things intersect in American politics and how they impact us and how they impact you, whoever you may be. And hopefully this is not your first time listening to us, but if it is your first time, please subscribe and also like and share, like everybody else says on YouTube and every other platform. All right, so for you new folks, we're going to introduce the crew. We're going to start off with ladies first. I'm Michael Graham from Actify Press. I always forget if I say that, but that's who I am. And first up is Samantha Angelique. Sam, talk to the people.
No, I think I'm going to change my name for the show. I've been thinking about this, you guys. Because I like the Khaleesi nickname. I do like the Khaleesi nickname that John gave me, so I might do that one. But I'm thinking about this. I am definitely thinking about a good little name change for the show. Right. So we will be talking about this in the upcoming. Alert. Yeah, new nickname alert. Just in case the show ever get picked up, whatever name you give them, they own. That's why Dave Chappelle was going off about wanting his stuff back.
And he got it back too.
He sure did. But so yeah, you can find me at me17trillion. I'm looking forward to doing this about Kyle today, talking about water is wet. And yeah. I'm gonna keep it short today because I've been asked to to be a little more sensitive in the beginning.
Sensitive to the little people.
So this should be fun and good times. But yeah, I'm thinking Khaleesi though. I like that one. I like the Khaleesi nickname. I'm gonna think about some other stuff, but I do like Khaleesi.
All right, cool.
Either that or
Khaleesi.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. All right. Go ahead. So, John, you're up.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, man. What's up, fam? Like, it's me, John C. Back with the fam. Like I said, average American Negro. Motherfucking, yeah. And you can follow me. I ain't put my Twitter handle out there like in a minute, but I had to go get some smoke. My fam held me down. MG held me down. Motherfucking Sam held me down. And Mud, I know you. Mud held me down too. Real shit, like, you know what I mean? Everybody held me down. I had to come back. So I don't want my family to hold me down. I get this fucking predicament. I'm gonna come back and hold myself down. But regardless, you can follow me or not, I really don't care. I really don't give a fuck. Back with the fucking fam. We about to give fucking more smoke. KKK Kulinski. So, you know what this is. You know what this is gonna be about. So, happy to be here. Cousin Mud. What up, cousin? MG.
Talk to him, Mud.
Sam, Khaleesi.
I like it. It's growing on me. I like it.
Dragon Queen. It's fine.
I like it because I like burning shit down. So
burn shit. You know what? I ain't gonna say that. My bad, cuz. My bad, cuz.
Nah, they call me Mud. You can find me on my socials, Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse at Of Lineage, one word. Better Dose TV's coming soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get it.
All right. Thank you there,
Good
Mood.
stuff. Good stuff.
All right, family. All right, Sam, let's talk about this video. What's the name of this video?
I'm pulling it up for you right now.
Doing it right
Screen share. Yes, sir.
Share. Y'all didn't know I could sing, did you? Still don't know. All right. This is from April 29th, 2021. It says, study, identity politics kills progressive popularity. Notice what they're calling identity politics, but we'll go into that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this video. Crystal also did a video. That's one we got a request to do, but we're gonna riff on Kyle this time because we've gone at the Hill several times over the last couple of months, and we kind of left Kyle out in the wilderness. I know he missed us riffing on him, so we decided to come and give him some smoke.
KKK Kulinski.
KKK Kulinski, that's how they get down. KKK Crystal gets a break, and KKK Sagar. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, fuck them. All right. So, and we're also gonna, we've all read the study, and we're gonna discuss the study itself, and we're gonna go from there. All right, let's go, Sam. Let's ride on with this mess.
Gonna ride out. All right, here we go. Boom.
A political science study from Yale. Some undergraduates at Yale did this study, and the results are fascinating. So take a look at this. So Mika English, who's one of the people who did this study, Democrats have started using racial justice framing to promote their progressive policies. Like student debt relief is good because it will close the racial wealth gap. Is this language helpful for their cause? In a new working paper, Jay Calla, who's the other...
I like how you threw that out there, MG. So that's the gag, though, right? Like, student loan debt relief is good because it'll close the racial wealth gap. This is why it doesn't work, because it's a lie.
Dr. Doherty, you were one of the various people who talked about reparations. I've quoted you quite a bit in my work. When you think about ways to address the racial wealth gap and through the lens of reparations, like what's one of the most effective steps you think can be taken immediately?
Well, I want to thank Ryan for introducing reparations into the conversation. I've done a substantial amount of work on this topic, particularly in conjunction with my partner, Kirsten Mullen, and we have a new book on reparations that will be available in April called From Here to Equality. In the final chapter, we try to sketch how you might actually execute a reparations program. I think one of the critical things that we have to recognize is the magnitude of the racial wealth gap. And I think we've talked about the racial wealth gap here, but I don't think we've offered any numbers to give people a sense of the scale of that disparity. So if you were to examine the American population as a whole, Black Americans are about 13% of the nation's population, but Black Americans possess less than 3% of the nation's wealth. What that translates into at the average is an $800,000 differential per Black and white household. That is to say, the average Black household has $800,000 less in net worth than the average white household. And I'm talking about looking at the average or the mean instead of the median, which Ryan referred to, because 94% of the wealth that is held by white households is held by white households who have a net worth above the white median. And so if we're thinking about closing the racial wealth gap, we have to think about closing it at the mean rather than at the median to absorb the full differential in the proportion of wealth that's held by the two communities. So if you were to bring the Black share of wealth at least to the Black share of the population, it would require an additional at least $10 trillion. And so the other kinds of programs or initiatives that we're talking about are not going to come anywhere close to trying to eliminate or eradicate a gap at that magnitude. And so that's why we need to turn to something like a reparations program, which is specifically aimed at building black assets to a level that would be comparable to the level of assets that are held by white Americans on average.
Researcher here says, we find no. Let me give you more. They say, racial equality frames and public policy support survey experimental evidence by Micah English and Joshua L. Kalla. So here's the abstract. How do racial attitudes shape policy preferences in the era of Black Lives Matter and increasingly liberal views on racial issues? A large body of research finds that highlighting the benefits of progressive policies for racial minorities undermines support for those policies. However, Democratic elites have started centering race in their messaging on progressive public policies. To explore this puzzle, in this paper we offer an empirical test that examines the effect of describing an ostensibly race-neutral progressive policy with racial framing, as used by Democratic elites on support for that policy. To benchmark these effects, we compare a race policy frame with class.
Sorry, I don't want to, because I know we're going to actually go through the whole thing, but where was that race neutral policy for that fucking Asian, what's that shit?
Pacific Islanders, yeah.
No, the fucking shit that they just passed, that fucking, sorry.
Asian hate crime.
Thank you. Yes. Yep. Where was it for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we know who they're talking about when they say this.
Well, yeah, of course.
America's racist. This is a shocker. How do you change that?
Water is wet.
So this is the Morgan Freeman study. Don't talk about it, and it'll go away.
Yep, don't talk about racism, it'll go away. Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about this is that they're trying to act like this is like an objective,
profound
view. Mm-hmm. Like they're trying to act like this is objective, but we already know it's biased because it says Democratic elites. Like the only people that are saying this are the fucking socialist, class reductionist motherfuckers.
Yeah. But even in the study, they say they found counter evidence. You know what I mean? We'll talk more about it as we go. Yeah. John, you got anything on that before we move on?
Nah, y'all niggas killing this shit, man. I just KKKyle. We just put so much pressure on that. They doubling down on class reductionism, man. Like they doubling down on anti-black class reductionism. Mm-hmm. This shit is fucking sickening, man.
Yeah.
Also notice. I'm sorry, John. Also notice this undergrads did this. These aren't grads. This isn't somebody's thesis.
Hey, G Dub with the Yale. You know what I mean? With the Yale. Fuck you. Yeah. I mean, G Dub with the Yale, and he got an MBA from Harvard. Yeah. I said G Dub with the Yale. And you feel me? Graduated with a C+. Like, so at the end of the day, it's like, all right, they bringing up this study. We know why. I'll get into it. You know what? I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be fucking quiet. KKK Kulinski know what he's doing. He know he want to just take more of it. Yo, stop taking that shit out your mama medicine cabinet, man. You need to chill, man. You know what you're doing. That Eminem mama medicine cabinet, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, this anti-black bullshit. All right, let's keep it going. All right.
You got anything, Med?
Oh, no, let's go.
Race and class and neutral policy frames. We demonstrate that despite leftward shifts in public attitudes towards issues of racial equality, racial framing decreases support for race-neutral progressive policies. Generally, the class frame most successfully increases support for progressive policies across racial and political subgroups. What do you know? So, in other words, the point being made here is a point that we've made a number of times on this show, which is even if you're somebody who prioritizes racial justice on its own as distinctly separate and apart from economic justice, even if this is the way you think about politics, the way in which you can get wins on racial issues is to frame them in a class kind of way. So in other words,
shut the fuck up, nigga. Shut the fuck up.
For white people, But when you start talking to Black people, for you to get their interest, you have to talk about race. You need Black people to win. So, yeah. Anything else, anybody? Go ahead. Go ahead, Mud. Please go.
Yeah. What he just said, the study said that people are turned off when you frame race neutral policies in a way that suggests that it's dealing with race. So obviously that's the problem. Like, okay, if it's a class policy, you need to label it like it's a class policy. But if you're actually going to deal with racial justice, you need to label it as racial justice. That's basically what it's saying. And like he's trying to construct it as in a way to saying that these class policies are actually dealing with the race problem, even though that the study is saying that it's not even supposed to be addressing the race problem. It's supposed to be talking about class. Like it's this bait and switch game they constantly do and think no one is following.
Yeah, that's a perfect point, because I was going to say the same thing. As a matter of fact, I pull it up again. Let's read this. I'm gonna read this again. I'm gonna read this because Kyle read it. I'm gonna read it again. We demonstrate that despite leftward shifts in public attitudes towards issues of racial equality, racial framing decreases support for race neutral progressive policies. If it's race neutral, frame it as race neutral. Nobody's telling you to lie to people. Like Mud said, just say what it is. Stop saying stupid shit like we mentioned before. It's the
Breonna Greyjoy shit. It's the Breonna Greyjoy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, let's flame Medicare for all because it helps more Black people because more Black people die of health issues.
Yeah.
Or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah. Stop framing student debt as a way to close the racial wealth gap
because it's a lie.
Stop lying, progressives. That's what they're saying. Well,
pause, NG, since we're saying that it is a lie that it doesn't close the racial wealth gap, please go and read What We Get Wrong About Closing the Racial Wealth Gap by William Sandy Darity. No, because we can't just say it's a lie without telling people where to go read where the fuck it's a lie at.
Yeah, exactly.
So please go and read this. There's a whole study. White high school dropouts have more fucking wealth than Black fucking college graduates, bachelor's degrees. So miss me with the bullshit.
Yeah. Well, there's the other study that
Don't Make It Rain.
He did it was Running the Numbers. That's the one he did.
Is it in that one too? Oh yeah, because he's talking about Bernie.
Yeah, when he's talking about all those progressive policies,
running
like
the numbers on closing the racial wealth gap.
How all these policies impact the racial wealth gap, or don't, which most of them don't really impact it in any significant way, right? I think in that study called "Running the Numbers" by Sandy Darity from Duke University, I think they closed the gap by like $1,000, which is nothing. You know what I mean? That's nothing. Well, they could say it moving in that direction, I guess. But but when you were talking about the levels of wealth, the wealth gap we're talking about, $850,000 per family, that's nothing. Okay, it's $849 now. Good job for those of us who for the people who went to college and have debt. Right? I've said it before. I'm ex-military. I don't have debt from I didn't go into debt for my degree. All right, so. All these folks that got this debt, all these Black folks, especially Black women that had this debt from going to college, the racial wealth gap will not be closed. Will it be good to get that debt off the books? Of course it will be. But our issues are not on the debt side of the ledger. It's on the asset side of the ledger. All right? That's the problem. That's where our problems are, on the asset side of the ledger, not the debt side of the ledger. And the quicker the left understands that, the better. Well, I'm sure a lot of them understand that. All right, let's go.
Huzzah.
The people who are most interested and most obsessed with that topic, you're more likely to get wins if you frame these things in a class-conscious way first and foremost. In other words, you actively push people away, turn people off, make them dislike you more and dislike your issues more if you frame it in a racialized way. So, listen, again, this is a point I've been attacked for making, but I'll make it again. I'm sorry, it's just factually true that universal solutions actually close the racial wealth gap and close and
no, they don't.
It's just factually true that universal solutions actually close the racial wealth gap and
no, they don't. Stop lying. No, they
that
don't.
Is a lie.
That's a lie.
Show the fucking studies. Show the studies. No, they do not. Nothing that has been proposed closes the racial wealth gap.
Nothing.
Everybody listening to this call.
Everybody.
Okay. If I give you $5,000 and all of your neighbors $5,000, do you guys now have the same? If y'all bank accounts match exactly, you do. If not, you don't. This don't make no sense. What are you talking about? Like, and the thing about it is we're not even against class policies, but the class policies that they're pushing don't even make a dent for fucking poor white people. Like, poor whites don't even get a leg up with this shit. So it damn sure ain't helping us Negroes. Like, come on. Like, Kyle.
He's doubling down on the bullshit.
Doubling down. Like, please, Mud, please. I'm mute myself. I'm frustrated. No, I'm frustrated.
I didn't want to cut you off, but I just don't, I'm tired of like it being framed as just a poverty thing. Like, we're talking about closing the racial wealth gap because of the actual injury. So even for, people who are like middle class, like, Black people are middle class, like they deserve to get a leg up because of, or not even a leg up. They deserve to have their debt paid because it's their inheritance. So it's like, it's and the thing is, it's like, what he's telling us is the same thing the conservatives are telling us. Get over it. That's basically it.
This is the white liberal racist version of dog whistling. This is no different. It's all dog whistles. Let's not talk about identity politics anymore. Let's just talk about class.
But again, even if we just talk about class, right? We have to if we're going to really get to the root causes, we have to describe how people came and became parts of those classes, right? It's not just capitalism bad, class structure is what it is. No, we need to discuss how people got there, because people got there in different ways. Some people came here with nothing. Some people came here with nothing and built something and still didn't get nothing. There's different causes and different effects. And if you don't tackle those, you're not really answering the questions and you're not solving problems. You're just trying to skate by right now. Because like you said, Sam, he's dog whistling. He's talking to the people that listen to him, right? He's talking to his audience, telling them, yeah, you were right all the time not to listen to them niggas, right? That's what he's saying. But again, a handful of undergraduates, 3 undergraduates, they haven't even, then now this isn't somebody's thesis. Nobody's hanging their
scholastic career.
Their scholastic credibility on this bullshit, right? Even in the study, they say that, well, there's some evidence that we may be bullshitting, but they're moving right along. You know what I mean? All right, go ahead, John. You got something?
Not really. I'm gonna get his ass later. Not really though. But he know what he's doing. He know what he fucking doing, man. You know what? I do got something, FG. I do got something. You know this is my top enemy, man. Y'all know this is my top fucking KKK Kulinski. Been my top enemy. You my top enemy, man. And you really just prove why. Like, you just prove why. Because this is the game they play and shit. The game they play is that fucking neo-libs use race to kind of suppress progressive policies. And this is the reason why Bernie Sanders needs to stay away from kind of racializing progressive policies and this and that. But first of all, like, this tactic already, like, we've seen this tactic. This is what left you. This is why we come after y'all motherfuckers, like, because you feel me, like, real shit. Like, the thing about it is that when Bernie Sanders and them was talking about these progressive policies, they were not targeting Black. They were speaking in those ways, those little blocks. It was like class block. It was like middle class people, and poor people, and rural people, and people that are poor, and they ain't connected to Black people. Then they're saying that motherfucking Democrats racialize this shit to put it down. By the end of the day, if you're really about justice, what you should say to them fucking neo-libs, because neo-libs hate us for being specific racial, like targeted towards the racial pop. They don't like us. Maxine Waters hate us. Like, if our sport came to Maxine wore the door, man, so be like, get them niggas out
Release
of here.
the
Like, get them out of
hounds.
here right now. Talking about reparations. Get them away from me. They hate them. They hate us more than they hate y'all. You know what I mean? They hate us more than they hate these fucking progressives. Like, so this is just a game he playing, trying to conflict the neo-lib problem, like neo-libs using our plight the same way that, to suppress their progressive policies, the way that they use our fucking plight to kind of push their progressive policies. And he just saying like, don't talk about it. Don't bring up Negroes no more. Because Negro, you going to benefit the most. We've been talking about, what the fuck, Cal? This what you got? this what you, all right, never mind.
And stop telling me that I'm going to get the biggest, stop telling me I'm going to get the biggest piece of the fucking crumbs. Sorry, I had to get that out because I was getting frustrated. Got the stuttering. This goddamn coffee.
Yep.
Yeah, quit telling me I'm gonna get the biggest nugget of the crumbs that falls off the table. Listen, none of these policies move the needle. Listen, it's great if I can have free healthcare so I can prolong my death. But if I'm still fucking poor and starving, okay, like we still need money and resources. None of these things that they're talking about are gonna close, like I said, are gonna close the racial wealth gap, period. None of them. And fuck that racial wealth gap. None of those things are gonna close the lineage wealth gap, which is for descendants of chattel slavery. Fuck the racial wealth gap, because a lot of you guys, this country doesn't owe you anything. You immigrated to a racist country. You were not brought here in chains. You were not forced to come here. You chose to come here. This was your choice. So the country doesn't owe you anything. The only thing the country owes you is a standard of living as an American citizen. So that's why I'm not against class policies. But I agree, let's stop framing them as fucking racial policies, because they're not closing shit. That's why everybody's getting turned off, because it's not closing anything. But most people aren't even smart enough to know that. You're sitting here saying that it does. So the problem is people like you are liars. We get these racist white people. And yes, I'm calling Kyle a racist. He's a white liberal racist, white progressive racist, whatever. He probably has Black friends, but he's paternalistic. He's like a Bill Maher. You know, like they all cool with Black people. They fuck Black chicks. Not saying that Kyle fucks Black chicks. But I'm just saying, you know, they all cool with Black people and shit. And then, but when it comes down to like, what Black people need and how to better our situation, they don't give a fuck. Like, oh, well, just take some fucking healthcare, take some free college and get the fuck on. But it's like, but my free college doesn't help me get a fucking job. Like, if the Democratic Party right now, if the squad is there a federal jobs guarantee bill in fucking Congress right now being pushed that has been signed by anybody, has been actually introduced? Is there one?
I have no idea.
I would have to look it up. But what I'm saying is the federal jobs guarantee, if it was at $25 an hour, that would be something that would be substantial for all Americans. That would actually help Black people, because Black people who can't get a fucking job right now could go get a fucking job. Not at 15, at 25. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about $15 an hour, which is still fucking poverty wages. And I want people listening to this, really tell me, like, if you live somewhere that's a major market, like if you live in a city, not even a major city, just if you live in a city, that is not enough money. $15 an hour in a city is not enough money. Period. And like a lot of people said, just because they rate, just like if it's 15, great, but without a federal jobs guarantee, which 15 still ain't shit, so it needs to be 25, but without a federal jobs guarantee, there's no new jobs coming to those poor Black people and those poor white people in the South who ain't got no jobs. You need the federal jobs guarantee, with it being $25 an hour to actually to matter as a class policy. But that's not what you guys are talking about. You're talking about shit that only really helps upper middle class people. The policies that they're proposing, especially college, free college, that's a top 10% problem. That's a top 10% problem. So,
yeah,
like
even Joe Biden's talking about free community college. You know what I mean?
Community college is fucking free right now.
For a lot of states, yeah, it is.
No, if you make under a certain amount of money, right? So unless your parents make decent money, and then even if your parents make decent money, there's ways to get around the system, because my mom made too much money for me to get my shit in the beginning. So I had to go through this whole thing and file as like an emancipated adult person to get my shit. So there's always workarounds. But if you make under a certain amount of money, like your classes are free. At junior college, if you're, even with what my mom was making, my classes were still free. I just couldn't get any money. You understand what I'm saying? So no, your classes are free. And then if you make under a certain amount of money after that, so you have your classes are free. Then if you make under a certain amount of money, you can get actual financial aid where they'll actually give you money. And then on top of that, they have EOPS, at least in California, they have EOPS in these schools, which they give you like book vouchers. They'll give you fucking train passes, like all kinds of shit. Like there's so much shit that you get. Like college is free for most poor people right now. If you're a poor person, junior college is free for you up until you run out of your financial aid money in the Pell Grants. Yes. So they're not even talking about making 4-year universities free. If they were talking about 4 years, but again, that doesn't close the racial wealth gap. And all universities should be free anyways, because it's 2021. We have climate change coming. We're already seeing all this shit going on. We need to be training Americans to be the best and the brightest in the world, to be ready to solve the problems that are coming down the line for us. But y'all aren't talking about that.
Nope.
This is weak.
Yeah, even in Tennessee, community college is free in Tennessee. You know, you graduate high school, you walk in the door, you go to community college. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Right? No paperwork. I mean, no more than usual. Right? No FAFSA documents. Nothing. It's free in Tennessee. You know,
Wow.
you know how wild that is? In Tennessee, community college is free, and even Joe Biden is meeting them halfway on this shit. So how progressive is it really if Joe Biden is halfway there with you? You know what I mean? You know, Mike John, it's not all that fucking progressive.
You know what he's doing.
It's not, I mean, and he doesn't have a leg to stand on, Mr. Justice Democrats. All them Justice Democrats got out there and became regular old Democrats. Fuck justice.
I want to win.
They became just us. Like
just us. Yeah, exactly.
And now he's crying about
they all focused on their brands and shit.
Yeah.
Yo, did anybody notice that Cori Bush looked flyer already? Like when I just saw her, I was like, oh, who's that? And I was like, Cori Bush. And I was like, oh, I see that money already hitting you, boo-boo. Your whole appearance been upgraded. Oh, am I the only one who noticed?
Stylist. She got a stylist. Let her live. Let her live.
I'm not saying that anything's wrong with it, because Cori Bush is at least well, no, they're all terrible. I don't.
Well, I mean, at least Cori Bush picked a fight.
Hey, Mud, what you got to say about this shit, man? What's up, cuz?
Nah, I mean, I agree with Sam. Like, Sam's kind of aired the whole shit out. Like, I don't really have shit to say.
Sam always does that shit to us.
And ameliorate race issues the most. Now, that's not to say that every race issue is solved if you do these things, but it is to say that if you talk, for example, about legalizing, taxing, and regulating drugs and freeing every nonviolent drug offender. See, I just spoke about that in a totally race-neutral way. And the effect of those policies would be actually to really almost bring about a form of racial justice, because the drug war disproportionately targets minorities.
Feelings, Mud?
Yeah. So what about the people who've already been imprisoned and have records and all that stuff? You're not necessarily talking about doing something that is going to lift them up. You're just talking about ending the bullshit. Huh?
You're just talking about letting them out to nothing, like slavery.
I don't even know if they're really letting them out. Like, really, I think all they're talking about is like stopping the shit going forward. Like,
no. Yep. Sorry. Yo.
Where the fuck did your little black ass come from? Huh? You think you and some old voodoo bitch could scare me out of my house? I don't care how many slaves died here. I didn't kill them. You get no reparations. You hear me? No reparations!
Tales from the hood. No reparations for you. No reparations for you. With the little fucking dolls, bruh. Sorry, go ahead.
That whole thing again, like Sam was saying, we get disproportionate pieces of the pie, right? But what about the harms that led up to this, right? I guarantee you 90% of the Negroes get caught up in the drug game who are actually doing it and not just got ran up on and got some shit planted on them, right? If we had our wealth, 90% of them wouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? You're not going to the source of anything, right? Again, they're trying to restart the country in the way they want to without solving any of the underlying problems, which means they're going to fester, they're going to linger. No matter what you say or do, the problems of racism, they're going to linger and they're going to impact us more than anyone else. Anyone else.
Yeah.
That's disproportionate, motherfucker. Excuse my French. All right, anybody else got anything?
Nah, I mean, yeah, man. But I mean, you see what he's saying, man. Basically, what he's saying is like, yo, he's dog whistling to the to progressive politicians talking about quote unquote racial justice. None of this shit is specific. This is POC talking. Real shit, like if it's targeted towards us, like it's layers to this shit. He get at the neo-libs for focusing too much on race. Feel me, like, but not really doing nothing to help the economic structure. He's dog whistling towards the left that talk about race to push progressive policies, but white people don't like it because they kind of make it racialized, even though black people know that it's really not going to lift us off the bottom. So he's basically just trying to tell everybody, shut the fuck up about the niggas. He like, shut up. We got the Yale study. We got a mathematical equation. Look, it say race times division times class divided by class plus race greater than race, equal than race, to the third power equal. Don't talk about
talk about a wild formula in the study.
Don't talk about it no more. Don't do it no more. Stop it. Stop talking about the Negro specific issues and economic issues. Like, and he think that he throwing the blow towards people like us, like talking about Maxine Waters. He think that we buying into this bullshit. They don't even like he living in he living in the fantasy world, man. He talking some real anti-black shit for real. There's some anti-black. He's doubling down on his anti-black class reductionism. And let you know how deep this racism shit is.
Before MG jump in, I gotta answer to all of his problems, right? Pay niggers reparations, and you can do all the shit you talking about because you will have paid us our money and we'll be off the board. So you can class it up after then. Get rid of race, and then you can do class. It's that easy. We're not doing it the other way. Sorry.
Yeah, but the study even said stop lying about the shit. That's what the study said. Stop lying about this shit. Stop telling people this is going to solve a problem that doesn't solve a problem. It's not really solving, right?
But the thing is, he's not like the thing is that he's doing exactly what he's saying shouldn't be done in the study right now by claiming that this shit is going to solve the race stuff. It's just if we don't talk about it. Like that's all he's saying, but he's actually talking about how this is going to solve the race stuff. Like you're doing exactly what the study tells us not to do. Like it's fucking insane. Like this stuff does not fucking fix race problems. It is a race neutral policy. Like just call it a solution for class problems. And you would probably get further if you were honest and say you don't give a fuck about race problems instead of pretending like this shit is going to be a solution.
I really wish they would, Mud. I wish they would.
Real sick, huh?
Yeah, let's go on more shit. I'm tired.
MG, you got something on that? Go ahead, bro. What's up?
It's just the same bullshit, man. We've been fighting since we started this show, and even before that, as individuals, stop fucking lying to people. tell the truth. Tell the fucking truth.
Tell
Right?
the truth.
Tell
Tell the truth. Tell the
Tell
truth.
the truth.
All right,
Tell the truth.
just be honest. This shit ain't gonna really solve racism stuff. It'll do some stuff around the edges, but you know, at the end of the day, it's really not gonna do nothing for you niggers. You know what I mean?
It.
Just be
like, listen, this is gonna help the majority of Americans, and you niggas are Americans, so take this and shut the fuck up. And then we would say, fuck you, but we see you.
Yeah.
But instead, we out here dancing around.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. All right, let's go. Shit. Made me mad.
Man.
And, you know, even people who are arrested for doing drugs, selling drugs, disproportionately, that impacts minority communities. So if you legalize, tax, and regulate drugs, that helps minority communities the most. And if you free every nonviolent drug offender, that helps minority communities the most. Now,
I'm sorry, it's irritating the fuck out of me that he keeps saying minority. Don't use minority. That's lesser than.
How about
don't
BIPOC?
use it.
BIPOC?
Fuck that too. I don't like any of that shit.
I
don't like any of that shit. I don't like any of that shit. But minorities, that shit is rubbing. Tell me how an Indian is a fucking minority when they have more money than white people. Tell me how a Japanese person is a minority when they have more money than white people. Like, just because you're non-white, yes, you're in, like, you're percentage-wise, yes, there's fewer of you, but when you're elitist, like regular white people, what the fuck? This is the thing, right? Everybody keeps talking about class, but if y'all really do class policies, you're gonna be upset because you motherfucking people of color are gonna get fucking slaughtered in that shit. Because a lot of you have been fucking pigeonholing yourselves into shit that should have been for poor blacks. And you are some rich fucking foreigners. Not all of you. Man, I see. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Hey, Sam,
no,
get him, man. Get him the fuck out of here.
John Kulinski.
My bad. You gotta go ahead, sir.
You motherfuckers want a class war? I'm about to give y'all one. Because we can go. No, because we can go for real. Because, like, we already know what we want and need for reparations. That's a done deal. I can fight that. And fight y'all motherfuckers on this class war, too. Because if y'all really want to play this class war shit, we can go. Because nothing you're proposing fixes this fucking class. So if you want to keep talking about it, we're going to keep digging and peeling away at it and show that it's not going to help no fucking body. So let's play. I'm here for it. I'm a Gemini, I'm fucking petty.
And that's the thing, though. I've been saying this about these folks for a long time. They're really not. They're just here to get power, right? They see all these people aging out of Congress, and they think they can start scooping up those seats, specifically the Justice Democrats, with a lot of people on the quote unquote left. They just want to be the new bosses. That's all it is. They just want more power, and they're saying whatever they got to say to do to get that power without serving us, right? Because they know if we get lifted up, they got a problem holding this thing together.
Oh, and here's the gag, because we are literally looking at Frankenstein. And the Justice Democrats are his fucking monsters. AOC, that whole thing. This motherfucker's Frankenstein. And the Justice Democrats, Frankenstein's monster. You created that beast. That was birthed from your fucking loins.
Ain't that crazy? He done like real shit. Like he supported he supported a whole system, like a whole fucking organization to get progressives, quote unquote, progressives in power. And now he's doing videos. He done put in years of work to get these motherfuckers in power. Now you gotta do videos like, AOC on some bullshit. I remember that type of legwork he was putting in for AOC. Like, real shit. He was putting everything on the line.
Like I said, they're his baby. Like I said, they are his monster. He is Frankenstein, and they are Frankenstein's monster. Like, you need to be more focused on dealing with your monster you created than worrying about the niggas. But
again, it's about power, right? Even if he's supposed to be no longer in the power structure of Justice Democrats, but he's still he's a still big part of their media arm, right? So and he 99% of the time he protects them. So this monster that he built was always about power. It wasn't about helping anybody. It was just a path to power, right? If somebody gets helped along the way, great. But it's always a path to power without serving us. That's all it ever was.
I guess, and this is why I know I keep saying it, and I know we do like a political show, but like this shit ain't coming through these fuck ass politicians. It's coming through us organizing ourselves. Once we organize ourselves amongst each other, then we can make them do whatever we want, because they gonna feel the wrath if they don't. But as of right now, if your congressperson where you live doesn't do what you want, how do you punish them? And when I say punish them, I don't mean nothing stupid, motherfuckers. I mean, how do you punish them? As in, how do you get them out of office the next cycle? Not where it takes you years. You got to like, how do you do that? Through organizing your people. But everybody's sitting here trying to, and when I say organizing your people, I mean, we have to start organizing like where we live. And we have to get people sorry, give me a second, guys. I'm getting frustrated. Okay. No, I'm getting frustrated because I keep listening to this and they keep talking about the identity politics stuff, and you keep talking about we just saw how this plays out, right, with the Justice Democrats, right? They ran on one thing, they get in, they do something totally different. Now you can't, like, y'all couldn't get AOC out the next go around if you wanted to, and this bitch is now working against you. So my thing is, how do you punish people in the proper way when you're not organized properly? And I don't mean like organized for politics, like you're not even organized amongst yourselves, because what we should be doing is organizing as a people to do a general strike so we can break the financial system and force them to do what they need to do for us as a people. The fact that we have gone into a pandemic and went through a year and gotten less than $3,000 in aid for a whole fucking year and some change, like, we should be punishing our government. And again, like I said, in a smart way, not a way that you're going to run out here and get yourself fucking killed and get all your people killed. No, like a general strike where everybody just stays the fuck home. Don't sign in the fucking Zoom. Don't get in your car and fucking drive. But that has to be organized, because everybody has to do it at the same time for like a fucking week. That takes massive organization. This little bullshit about, oh, well, we'll just vote again 2024, 2022, 2024, 2024. That has not worked. That has not worked my entire adult life. So what's next, people? Because whatever this is, this ain't it. Sorry, go ahead. I know MG will disagree with me because he still believes. He still believes, but I don't.
No, I mean, I honestly, I think we should do both, right? We should be talking about strikes. We should be talking about.
I'm not upset with both.
We should be talking about alternate paths to power. We should be talking about that. We should be weighing all of our options at this point, especially for us as Black people, right? We've got to weigh all of our options because it's almost the end for us. You know, so I think I don't have any beef with that strategy, but I think on the other side of that is, if we can't just leave the political side and just walk away from it without trying to impact it in some way, shape, or form. It's the same thing I tell the folks about HR 40. You know, I tell people in a minute, yeah, HR 40 sucks. It's not what we need. It needs to be edited or it needs to be replaced. But if that's what's going through, you need to try to influence as much as you possibly can, because that's the first thing smoking. That's the bus that's moving. You don't just let that bus go and be late for work or don't get to work.
Like AB 3121, that's what Idios LA did. Mm-hmm. That train was leaving the station. They were smart enough to jump on and make sure they were on it.
Yeah, especially when you know you can't stop it. You know what I mean? And you know you don't have the power to stop it. You better try to influence that motherfucker. Or you at the end of the day, you get the politics you deserve. All right, anybody else got anything on that?
Hey, Mud, what up, cuz? Where you at, man? Your mother been quiet. What's up, Mud?
Sorry, I'm eating some peanuts. Give me a second.
It's all gravy. Yeah, I think overall, man, I think, yeah, the whole thing is wild to me, right? Because I think a strike should be an option we weigh. You know, we've got to fight. We've got to find a way to fight to break the system, or not to break the system, but to change the system in our favor. Because you're not going to be. It's like the lefties talk about ending capitalism. Yeah, that ain't happening anytime soon, if ever. You know, but if you're going to impact it, you gotta do something.
Sorry, MG. I don't want to cut you off, but remember to get rid of the the last economic system, the slaveocracy, we literally fought a war.
Yep, that's true.
But y'all think we overthrowing capitalism tomorrow?
No, none of them believe that shit.
Yeah,
no, that's just a way to tell black people to shut up forever. Because if they, you just want to become the oppressor and be capitalist. No, I just want to live in a nice neighborhood where the police don't shoot my kids. And like the fuck,
trying to keep it simple. You trying to keep it simple.
Definitely.
Yeah. What you got, Mud?
Well, I was just going to agree with you, MG, because like if we got to be engaged with the political end, because if we don't have someone on that side like conveying the actual message, what's going to happen is that we're going to have people in Congress see this wild shit is going to go, wild shit is going on, but they're just going to respond to it however the fuck they think it's going to, like whatever solution they think is going to fix the situation.
Yeah.
They're not actually going to listen to us unless we have someone there in that system pushing our message.
Yep. You gotta have something in there, even if you don't get everything you want.
I agree with that. But on the other hand, you gotta have enough organization on the outside to punish people when they ignore you. Like when Karen Bass's bitch ass looked us dead in the face and said that reparations was not her issue and it would not be her issue unless we made it her issue, and that she said that we need to import more Africans because Black birth rates are low. Listen. Go ahead. in a world where I would have done what I should have done in my life, I should have been able to punish her. I should have been able to organize her district, because I don't even live in her district. Should have been able to organize her district to lolly this bitch out. That's what I mean when I say punish. So if you not set up where you can throw these fuckers out when they wild out, like, what do you want? Like, we just aren't even set up. Like, Congress will have like a 12% approval rate, but like 90% of Congress will be voted back in. What? That's a disconnect. Everybody can't be fucking up, but you're asshole. Like, come on. So what are we doing to organize people locally where we live to punish people?
Oh, I agree. I mean, I guess part of the problem is shit. I'm about to drop my microphone. Part of the problem is all these people in office have found ways to protect their spot. And one of the biggest ways to protect their spot is to keep the rich folks happy, right? That's how you get money to run the next person off, right? So, and the system is rigged. I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do about it in the short term. That's for sure. But I don't know. Shit, I don't know. I'm frustrated. Sam, you got me frustrated. I ain't supposed to be frustrated.
Hey, man.
Go ahead, John.
I just got one thing to say, man. This is how I feel about it. This is how I feel about what's going on right now with all of this shit. Cal Kulinski tell Asian people to stop advocating for themselves to get policy.
That's a good point, John. That's a good point.
Directly.
Real shit, like stop
directly.
Talking real shit, like talking about something like people don't like racial this, racial that. Them like real shit, like the majority of the country don't like when people pass these laws and we already explained to this motherfucker like real shit, like motherfucking niggas will start a war right now. The majority be 15% of the country that agree with this shit. The war gonna go on. You know what I mean? Like, Japanese reparations or something like that. Like, you feel me? Like, even when civil rights started and all the other shit started, like, you think you talking about the way to get to justice is to not talk about specific people? Like, real shit, like specific issues? Like, that's the way you shut the fuck about your issues and you gonna get to justice? Like, this shit is crazy to me. But on the flip side,
they don't believe that, John. They just don't want to. They just want to lean on this to back up their racism. They don't believe that shit. They don't believe not talking about a particular issue is going to make it go away. No issue in the world ends like that. Okay, we're gonna end world hunger, but we're not going to talk about it, huh?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
how you sound?
Kids no disrespect,
but the way to do that shit, man, like real shit. Like, don't talk about how the baby's starving. Talk about how you. Just talk about how everybody need bread, not the kids though. Talk about the adults.
Exactly.
Don't talk about the kids. Don't talk about the kids. Like, if the kids gonna get a piece of bread because they don't have no bread, they don't get a piece of bread. While everybody that got bread eat. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Like, know what I'm saying?
Shit, it's worse than that. Like they say, don't talk about, the kids needing to eat. We'll just get them health care.
You get some medicine for them stomach pains.
Like, yo, you got malnutrition and shit like that. You need some food because you got free healthcare. They're like, I can't afford no food. But like, all right, well, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, they'll feed you when you go into the hospital because you're dying of starvation. So they'll pump your stomach with some food with a tube and send you back out for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, let's move on.
This is a sad, sad world we living in, y'all.
Now, I can talk about that by coming out here and saying, putting the cart before the horse and saying, we need to bring about racial justice and we need to make sure that we, fix this issue for our minority communities, for our black and brown brothers and sisters, and that's why I'm in favor of X, Y, and Z. The point of this paper is to say,
black and brown in the
when
first
you
place?
do that, you're convincing fewer people or turning people against you, whereas if you discuss it in a race-neutral way, even though you're bringing about racial justice, people will support it largely because you're framing it in a race-neutral way.
That's racist.
Give another example. This one will be on women's issues. The minimum wage. And actually, I think this works for minority communities as well. If you raise the minimum wage to a living wage, the biggest beneficiaries of that, women and minority communities. Now, what the Democrats are doing these days is...
So if you're starving and I give you a cracker, instead of giving you a full fucking meal, like, you got a cracker, right? You're not starving technically anymore, right? Shut the fuck up. That's pretty much what he's saying, right?
Yeah, but that's what they've been saying to us forever. You know what I mean? Justice for you motherfuckers? Hell no. You just get what we give you, motherfucker. And how are you different from the Democrats as far as we're concerned? All right, anyway, anybody else got anything?
Yeah, the study is about race. The study is not about women. Like, if the study was like, we don't know what it would be if it was talking about a study that frames everything in women's issues. It might be positive. Like, those are different things. But he's living in a world where if you say minority, you're covering damn near everybody but white men. So everybody but white men have the same issue.
Straight white men.
Mm-hmm.
Straight white men.
Yeah, because the gay white men, they got on the gravy train.
Yep.
Straight white Christian citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. Okay.
Is they'll go out there and say, because we need to bring about racial justice, and because we care about our black and brown brothers and sisters, and because we're feminists, and because we care about women's issues, that's why we need to do this policy. Although a lot of them don't support $15 minimum wage, but that would be the argument they would make. Whereas, again, the point of this paper is, if you just say, raise the minimum wage to a living wage, because people who work full-time should make enough money to survive, and if the minimum wage kept up...
$15 ain't that. I'm going to keep going, but $15 ain't that.
With what it was in 1968, it would be over $10 an hour today, so it's worth less today than it was in 1968.
You fucker.
If you talk about...
bitch. Hold on. He said it would be over $10 today. Say what it would be in U.S. currency right now. It'd be about $22.50. So we might as well do 25 because we'll never get another fucking raise after that. It'll be 50 years before they do another minimum wage hike. After that, 25. So you might as well take the extra $2.50. But why not say what it would be now? Because for you to do that, you have to push against these bitch-ass Democrats who keep talking about $15 an hour. Who's living off $15 an hour?
But they talking shit and the Democrats keep mopping their asses up. You know what I mean? Let
me tell you, like, the Justice Democrats be out here getting slapped around like a straight up bitch. Like, they just just put the Dems be having baby powder on their hands, just slapping them and shit.
Nancy Pelosi just be using them. Shut up.
Oh,
bitch.
my God. Now, Nancy Pelosi be like, bitch, didn't I tell you to wear them high clear heels? What I say? Why you ain't on the strip?
Just molly-whopping them ladies, people, persons.
Hey, you seen the shit? Y'all seen the shit? AOC was like, Joe Biden doing some progressive, like Joe Biden the progressive. I remember this. This is crazy. Like, this is crazy. When she was running for fucking office for Congress, she would have never said no. She was like, fuck the Democrat. I'm fuck the neo-libs. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna fuck the system up. And now she's settled in the system. She got in the system, tried to fight a little bit, felt that pressure from the system, and now she's performing like, Joe Biden, that dude, like Joe Biden.
Yeah. Remember me crying at the border? Remember crying and shit. Now, like she on some Star Wars shit. These are not the kids in cage you were looking for.
Different set of kids in cages.
Obi-Wan, they motherfucking ass like, bro, shit, like, you don't know.
You are in Canada.
I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy shit. That's crazy. My bad.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Ooh, are we going back to the thing, or does anybody have anything else? I'm sorry.
Y'all
go ahead,
Nancy Pelosi? I think we need to talk about that bullshit she said about George Floyd.
Yes.
Oh.
We can do that after this, and we can just pop that straight out.
Okay.
Because I'm all for dragging Pelosi's bitch ass. We already know she's anti-reparations. I don't know. Like, even with the fact that we went through markups, we already know that she's against HR 40. So how are we going to get it to a floor vote?
Well, what's her name? Sheila Jackson Lee said she's going to do it on Juneteenth.
That they're going to vote on Juneteenth?
Yeah, they're going to vote for it in the House. They're going to vote for it in the House on Juneteenth.
Okay, but we got to do it. We need to add to your other way, like where we can.
Like you were saying earlier, we're not against any of those policies that are going to help people, right? But we want a little deeper cut, right? We need to talk about wealth distribution, right? The estate tax has been carved down to damn near nothing, right? If it exists at all now, right? And what's his name? Biden's talking about a minuscule tax increase on the rich. Of course, they're
people making over $400,000.
Yeah, which is 12 people, right?
Everybody's flopping. Here we go. Kevin Samuels, less than 1%, at least of men, less than 1% of men in the United States make over 300,000. Make over 300,000 a year. Yeah,
make over 100,000. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know it was 100, but I know for sure 300,000. Yeah, I think it's something like 3% make over 100,000.
Yeah, that's what I thought anyway. Don't listen to me, shit.
But still, so think about this. So think about it. You're basically taxing 1% of Americans. You need to tax the wealth, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. The money's in the wealth.
But he's also talking about increasing increasing taxes on corporations too. I'm all for that.
But they do loopholes though. But think about it. Like,
they can get rid of loopholes.
What is increasing taxes on Amazon going to do? How much did they pay in taxes last year? 0. So you increasing their taxes. So
yeah, a friend of mine, man, a conservative brother. He said, man, I believe that corporations should be taxed. It should be, and this was brilliant to me, a 15% flat tax across the board for corporations. 15% flat tax, no loopholes, no nothing. You got to pay money. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm like, that's brilliant. that is absolutely brilliant. But all right, let's go.
Isn't that what they do in other countries? Like most countries are kind of
most countries tax. You get. I mean, like what DB Cooper said. Why you take the money from there? Because that's where the money was. There ain't no money taxing poor people.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole tax and spend shit.
Did you hear this thing? How they're talking about proposing a gasoline tax? I was like, that's another poor tax.
Yeah, that's absolutely a poor tax.
Gas is over $4 in California right now.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you and your gasoline tax. That means gas is gonna be like it's gonna be like $5 in California. I'm gonna need a hybrid. Oh, not fuck that. I need a fucking electrical car. And for the electrical cars, they want to do a mileage charge. You bitches.
Man, I just watched a video on electric cars. They said they just making one battery pollutes as much as like 10 regular cars. Just making the battery.
Out of here.
I was like, God Damn, you can't win for losing out this bitch.
This is a joke. God damn.
You can't win for losing.
All right. Are you ready to go back to this bitch ass video?
Yeah, go ahead.
About these things in a race neutral way, you get more support for this, and the end result could be justice on women's issues and justice for black and brown people, but you're more likely to get the support if you frame it in a race neutral way, whereas if you lean into the race angle of it, you're more likely to turn people off.
Because the race angle is bullshit and you're lying, and people know that
you can determine why you think it is that those are the results. You could even argue, hey, people have some sort of like latent bigotry and latent racism, which is why they take more kindly to the race neutral framing. Whatever your answer is to that question, I don't care.
Yeah, they are racist.
But the facts are the facts.
Fuck is latent.
And the reality is, without a doubt, the way you get more people on your side and the way you're more likely to win these debates and win on these policies is to frame it in a race neutral way.
Okay.
That's what this research shows.
How did that work for you last election?
There's no doubt about that. Okay, I just want to be clear. Now we know.
But wait a minute, but that's not
that
that's
when
not
you
what
talk
the
about
study
it
shows, right? Hold on, Sam. That's not what the study shows, right?
We're gonna get into the study.
Yeah,
I got it pulled up here. But yeah, go ahead. Talk about it a little bit.
Matter of fact, let's make this the last point. Listen to Kyle's punk ass, and we'll move on to the study. The study shows that you need to stop lying about these fucking race neutral policies, as you call them. Stop lying about them. Stop calling them. Stop telling the people it's gonna do what it's not really to do. What it's not designed to do, and that's what it's going to do. Stop telling people those fucking lies, and you may go a little further.
And can we stop pretending like the reason why we're doing criminal justice reform is about Black people? That is about your fucking kids and their fucking meth and opioid addictions that you guys don't want them to fill up these goddamn jails. So you're already changing laws, you're already giving them treatment, but you want to make sure none of your fucking kids slip through the cracks. This is not about Black and brown people. And you motherfuckers just legalized marijuana in a lot of fucking places. So all you fucking white people who were sitting around smoking weed, enjoying yourselves, now get to own fucking dispensaries and all that other shit and make money where we was going to jail for getting locked up for that shit. And if you have a felony or anything from selling drugs or weed or anything like that, you cannot work in the cannabis industry. So all those people who spent all those years learning how to grow, learning all these skills, went to jail, this, that, the other, they can't even use the skills that they fucking cultivated and ended up going to jail for, which is now legal in many places. They can't even get a job in that industry. And if you want to get into a dispensary, you got to show that you got $100K in the bank. Like that's the base. You got to show that you have $100K just sitting in the bank. Plus you still have to go and get a bond and everything else. How many Negroes have $100K just sitting in the bank?
You better preach.
That's it. That's it. And that's all. Like, and that's just for you to apply for some of these licenses. Like, it's some bull.
And if you can scrape it together, you got to get it from white people. So they're gonna have the power when you build the business.
Yep.
You may have a strain that you created when it was illegal. Maybe the hottest shit out there, but you got to go to white folks to get the money. So they'll be in control. All right, go ahead, Sam.
Not only get the money, but get the motherfucking farmland and grow the shit on. I mean, it's all types of like real shit. Like you talking about.
That's a whole nother permit, bruh. That's a whole different permit. Now you talking about a grower's license. That's different than a cultivation and grower's license. Is different than a license that you need to own and operate the dispensary and facility. So you talking about another $100,000. Thank you for pointing that out, John. So if you're trying to do all pieces. Like, not saying that you can't grow, you can grow within but you still got to get another cultivation license though. So, but if you're trying to like do a whole plot of land separate from the dispensary, because some dispensaries grow within, but man, like it's bread. Basically, let's just say this is bread. You are not getting 4 homeboys together and opening a dispensary.
Nope. Unless one of the homeboys is Elon Musk.
The median income for Black men in this country is $48,000. You are not getting for $48,000 a year making Black people together to open a dispensary.
Math.
Yeah.
Giving me math.
Foremost, from a class perspective as opposed to a race perspective, you're going to broaden the tent. You're going to bring more people in. Whereas if you do it in a racial way, that doesn't happen.
Your tent's racist.
Fewer people are interested. So now I know a lot of people are not going to like the results of this, but it doesn't matter. That's the whole point of empirical research. You find what is objectively true, regardless of what people feel about it. And so I guess the point that I would stress is, even if you put these issues first and foremost, even if you say, I care more about the race stuff than I do the class stuff, I have a more ambiguous ideology on class stuff, I have a more set ideology on race issues, even if that's what you believe, if you frame these racial issues in a race-neutral, class-focused way, you're more likely to win on it and bring about the world you want to see. You're more likely to bring about that racial justice if you cloak it in class and universalism. Because
go ahead.
Remember we had the guest John. You had the guest John D on the show. He was talking about how the left like to do these motherfucking. They the logic bros. Like
yes,
they feel like they so logical. Like they feel like they so logical. And this is a way of racism. At first, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is exactly what the fuck he talking about. This is exactly what he was talking about. Like, Kulinski feel like he's so logical. Like, listen, like white people, the majority of the country, you have to get white people on board to pass your policy for minorities. And he basically talking about us. And at the end of the day, like our issue is like they don't say this shit to Asians, Native Americans. You gotta keep bringing this. They don't say this shit to no other minority. They basically talking about us, like even Latinos, like with the immigration thing. They just advocate for immigration all fucking day, 24/7. Nobody be like, yo, real shit. Kulinski would never come out and make a video like Asian hate shit, man. That did the real shit. Like, come on, man. The country was somebody couldn't. He'll try to pull out the chart. Like the country was on board for it, but why was the country on board for that and not on board for specific issues for Black people? Like,
because Asian people were spending money with fucking advertisements talking about what's going on with their issues, and Black people don't have money to come together and start doing fucking. I'm telling you, we need to get on this propaganda because everybody else out here playing this propaganda war but us.
Yep.
That's the thing. It could, because they have so much wealth, they don't even have to be together. All they need is a handful of people to do that work, right? Because you got wealth.
That's it.
You could pay people to do the groundwork. You can pay people to do the commercials. You can pay people to do X, Y, and Z. You don't even need to be like this myth that everybody has to be aligned. Everybody in a specific group has to be 100% aligned in order for anything to go anywhere, which is bullshit. Right? You need maybe 10, 15% of people who are going to charge hard and really put their head down and grind. And if you have wealth, I'm sure you've got to be probably like 5%, right? Because, there's a lot. I mean, you see it all the time on YouTube, all these Asian folks talking about, no. Y'all bullshitting. There's no Asian hate crime shit going on. Yeah, there's some stuff happening, but it's no worse than it is, this year. Like the police in Houston they're talking about
one is too many.
Yeah, one Asian hate crime in the whole fucking city in Houston.
Can we talk about this too? If one Asian hate crime is too many, can we really talk about Black people? So can 5 be too many? So we're at 1,000 for the year. Can that be too many? Can we stop for the whole rest of the year now because that was too many? Oh no, it doesn't work on Black people. Oh, okay,
no.
Just checking.
And that's the thing is that we've come to accept, well, they've come to accept, we stop accepting it, that black folks just don't get policy. You vote, you go home. That's all you get. That's racist, and that's what these people are trying to get us to accept.
That's what Barack Obama told us. Remember, he told us that we shouldn't expect anything for our vote. We shouldn't demand anything for our vote.
Yeah, exactly.
That was straight at ADOS. I remember that.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
Like, oh, Obama, you see all my hate, all the hate I leave you on Twitter.
Yeah,
I love it.
But because Obama's Black and Kyle's on the left, it's not racism. You know what I mean?
Because Obama's biracial.
Targeted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Stop calling him Black. He's biracial. He is a Kenyan white man.
he's a whole half African.
He's a white dude. He's a white dude.
Yeah, but
that is a white dude with a Black daddy.
Yeah, we have to stop, and all of us who are reparations, we stop sitting back and saying, okay, we don't deserve policy.
I thought it was hilarious that Sam said your tent is racist, and when I really think about it, like Asians are supposed to be in the tent with us, and
they're racist.
They're spending their money to get this problem solved, but
they ain't spend $1 on us.
Yeah, like so. We are not in the same tent as them, obviously.
You can tell any priority by its budget, right? So where is the Asian money going into causes to help Black people? Y'all own stores in all of our neighborhoods. Like John said the other episode, where are y'all sponsoring the soccer club or the little football team or whatever in these areas? You know what I mean? Like I live in Watts, where y'all sponsoring teams and shit, because y'all got stores every fucking way around here. So where's the little soccer team for Dante and Carlito and shit? Because Watts is like Blacks and Mexicans, or Blacks and Latinos, but mainly Blacks and Mexicans. So where's that shit? Like, again, you see the priority on where they're spending money. They spending their money to get their shit pushed, but we can't get nothing. The same way they have gotten a fucking what is that shit called? It's called a Economic Empowerment Act under every president since fucking Clinton. Biden hasn't done it yet, but we should expect it because it comes every 2 years. They get one.
He did give him. He gave him an Asian hate crime. But he gave him the hate
crime bill. He gave him that bill. Like we're getting shot, murdered in the street, and Asians get a hate crime bill.
And they got shit in the COVID bill.
And again, they're gonna use that shit just on us. So for Black people, y'all might have to protect yourselves. It may be time to divest from the Asian community. I'm sorry, y'all. And I'm sorry. And I don't know if that's how people are gonna receive that. But we might have to. I think that's for everybody's protection, because we already know that Asians, and I'm not saying all Asians, I'm talking about in certain settings, because I have personally been verbally and almost physically attacked by Asians in Los Angeles, where I had to have another Asian lady step up and kind of step in between and kind of shame them and cuss them out, because I couldn't do it, because then the reverse, it would have been Black, it would have been Black on Asian hate, blah, blah, blah. But they were the ones who started the shit. You understand what I'm saying? So this, sorry, I lost my train. I'll give you a second, you guys. So if we started like playing this game, like we see the videos of like Asian people like beating the brakes off of Black people, like in nail salons. I just saw a TikTok video of this Black girl. She was at this Asian, I guess it was like a dessert spot, and she had ordered the dessert, but she didn't like the taste of it. It had a really sour taste. It was kind of bothering her stomach. So she asked if she could exchange for something different. She had only took one bite, and the Asian owner called the police on her. And yeah, she literally called the police on her. And then she was like, in this climate, for you to call the police on me. Then the Asian lady tried to flip it and reverse it. Like, no, it's because of, like, you literally called the police on this girl because she asked to switch her food. And you could have just said, no, she said, I guess the lady was like, no, we don't do that. She's like, but I don't see why I should have to pay for something I don't like. You could just give me another, something else, and I'll pay for that. And that's just bad customer service. So this is my thing. So I'm not saying, and then like I said, you can see the videos of like beauty supplies where Asians have been like beating the brakes off of Black people. You can see videos of where Asians beat the brakes off of Black people when it comes to like nail salons and all this other stuff. So I think it's time for the Black community to divest from the Asian community. We should stop patronizing, stop spending money with these people. And I'm sorry if that comes off harsh, but I think if Black people keep attacking Asians, I think the best thing for Black people to do is not go and be around Asians so we won't attack them. If it's just something primal in Black people that just makes them hate Asians and want to attack them, I think all Black people should just divest from their community for a while. And then they can just deal with the whites, who are the real majority of the people who are attacking.
Yeah, and I want to be clear that you're just saying that you're feeding into the narrative that they're selling out there. You're not saying that we're actually attacking these motherfuckers.
No. I'm so sorry. I'm being facetious as shit. Yes, we are not we're not. Even that one video that RT used, which RT seems like it's a little racist. It seems very anti-Black. But RT used this video where like Black people can't stop attacking Asians. But the video, when you go back and do some research, the reason why the Black dude attacked the Asian dude is because he called him a nigger. So you can't be out here calling Black people niggers and then them not fuck you up. We had another video of the Black dude where that Asian dude came up to that Black dude when he was shooting that video and was like, I am a racist. We don't want no niggers around here and shit like that. Like, this happens. Like, Asians are anti-Black. They're anti-Black in their own community. We're going to drop a video on this already. We're going to be dropping a video on this of them talking about their own stuff. So this is nothing there. So I'm not saying all Asians, because, you know, we're not saying all anything, but let's just talk about y'all who own these shops and these stores. Like I said, I think it's time that we divest. I think it's time that we stop spending money with you so all of us can be safe. Because if you're going to call the police on a little Black girl because she wanted to exchange a piece of cake because she didn't like the taste of the cake, that tells me that we shouldn't be in your places, because you calling the police on that girl, it happened to be a Black officer who responded, but what if it was a white officer? What if she would have got slammed to the ground? What if she would have got brain damage? Like, anything could have happened, like literally in a moment where Black people are getting murdered by the police all the time. You call the police on a Black person because they wanted you to exchange a piece of cake. Think about this, white people. Think about this. Like, how many times have you gone to a restaurant and gotten something and not liked it and asked them to give you something else? Imagine them calling the police on you. That's the most insane thing ever. So, like I said, you know, if this is how it's gonna play, you know, we spend a lot of money, you know, everywhere I turn. If I go to the fish, if I go get fried fish where I live, Asians own it. If I go get beauty supply products, Asians. Like, the majority of the stores around me are either owned by Asians or Latinos. And I don't mind that the Latinos own it because they're half of the population here. So it makes sense for them to own some shit because it's their neighborhood. But Asians don't live here. There's less than 1% population of Asians that live in my city. So they literally take their money and go where they live. So this is not to get down on Asians because I don't really have an issue with them. But I just... No, I don't really have an issue with them. I'm just pointing out that they are not a monolith. There's a lot of different Asian communities, and the main ones that I like to talk about are the rich ones, which are the Japanese and the Chinese. Those are the rich ones.
Yeah, I mean, hey sis. I mean, yeah. I understand. I definitely understand what you're saying. But you were talking about like real shit, like the extreme, like real shit, like we hate Asians so much that why the fuck would they move out? You feel me?
Why are their shops still standing? If
exactly.
Black people hate Asians so much, why have we not burned them out of our communities? We've burnt shit down before. Why have we not burnt them out of our communities since the 90s?
Because it's not real. Because it's a myth.
Because if we hated them, we would not allow them to operate in period. Like, we would not allow them to operate.
Exactly. Like, and at the end of the day, like, real shit, Black people in America don't have real hatred towards any other groups of people. I mean, we do have bigoted people amongst our race, but as a collective, we really look at anybody that white people don't like as our allies. So that's, you feel me? Like, and now we coming out of that. That's why everybody getting mad now.
Yeah, you know we were dumb. We were always on that. My enemy is my friend, not realizing that, nah, they're not enemies. We the enemy. We are the enemy of the enemy is their friend. It's not the other way around.
It's the other way around. They let the white people like, oh, the niggas, I'm about to link up with this white person and shit. But you know what I'm saying? But nah, Asians always been, they've been in our community. I wouldn't say are they welcome. I wouldn't say they are they welcome with warm arms, but they did. They come here and nobody really try to attack them based off the fact that they Asians or, you know what I mean? Like, it might be resentment to it because like we don't own nothing. You own some type of store. You know what I mean? Like, so it's layers. It's layered. It's not like because you're Asian, you're Chinese. I don't like Chinese people.
It's Chinese nuanced.
Fucking days. Nobody burned the Chinese store down in the hood.
At all.
You come to the Chinese store. If I'm like,
the Louisiana fried chicken up the street is owned by Asians. Niggas would fight you for burning that shit down.
Word up, like what the fuck? Why you going? What's it? I'm like, but at the end of the day, it's like they look at that shit like Chinese people come to our community, and then it's like, yo, see that you ain't connecting with the Chinese people that come to your community. Why you ain't learn Chinese? Why you learn about? I'm like, you are building a business in my community. Why you ain't learning about me? The first thing you want to build a business, anybody's people. Why you ain't learning about me? You ain't talking. You feeling like you ain't talking to us. You just, you know what I mean? If I go to Chinatown and I ain't got no Chinese, I don't understand Mandarin and that shit. They not gonna let me open up nothing. They're not gonna be able to learn because I'm black, first of all. But if I had a business, like I'm like, this shit called soul food, like real. I'm like, this shit soul food. That's it. Like I'm opening it all black. We selling chitlins, all types of shit like that. Word up, but then we gonna try to make it Chinese. You gonna sell chitlins with fried rice?
Ain't none of them coming.
Get the fuck out of here. They gonna be like, yo, get his black ass the fuck out of here. You not coming here. I'm gonna tax you. I'm gonna box you out. You cannot come to my community, regardless if white people don't like you. So it's a different. That shit is fucked up, man. This shit is all fucked up.
All right, let's pivot back. You got anything, Mud, before we pivot back?
My bad.
No, it's all of us. But you got anything, Mud, before you pivot back?
No, let's go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Listen, it is true that if you lean more into identity and lean more into sectarianism, by definition, that excludes more people in language. It does. I mean, that's the whole point of it. So the more you stress how everybody's in the same boat and we're all together and we take a universal approach, we're all in this together, the more you stress that.
We are not in the same boat. White people, some of you are in yachts, some of you are in small speed boats, some of you are in fucking rowboats. We are in dinghy blow-ups with fucking holes in them. Not the same.
But Tyler Perry, an oligarch, because he got a rowboat.
Yo. So my girl told me that he has like the best parties ever, though. I am so looking forward to that. I need COVID to be over. I gotta see if Boondocks was telling the truth.
I don't even want to know about it. I ain't going when Tyler Perry for. I'm just saying the fact that he got a rowboat though. Like you said that he got a rowboat that's paddling and shit that people could really fit on the rowboat. He's an oligarch. Like Tyler Perry, nigga, like, man, they'll take his studio away from this nigga in a heartbeat, man. This nigga do some other shit, man. He stopped making this. I ain't gonna get into it, but he stopped doing this, man. They'll take that shit from him in a heartbeat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, man, this is just a way to be like, yo, nigga, shut the fuck up about your Pacific repair. Shut up, This shit is crazy. Man. This shit is crazy. It makes no sense. I mean, I know what he's doing. Like, we all know what he's doing. Like, but
Yeah,
bad for him. My bad.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for your analogy, Sam, all I envision is like, when there's like a shipwreck and there's a motherfucker holding on to a piece of wood.
Yeah, that's what we got, man. We got
wood. About Titanic.
Go ahead, bud. Please go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that's us. We're holding on to a piece of wood, looking at
we Jack from Titanic and shit.
We just hanging on that. Your white person get on the little board and shit. You just hanging on in the water like
poor whites are rows on the board and blacks are holding on to the board. I'll never let go.
Boat. Yeah, he said fucking boat. We hanging on to a piece of the wood from the shipwreck like that.
That's the best. That's the best one I've ever seen. That one's great. Thank you for the visual, Mud. Oh my god.
That's real, sir.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Whew. All right, are we ready? Oh, we're almost through this. Let's see what else he got for me.
The more you highlight the areas where we have common experiences and interests, shock, the more likely you are to win, the more likely you are to get more people on your side. And again,
sorry, who decides what common interests are? Because free college is great for everybody, but it still isn't what Black people are asking for. I think the problem is white people keep telling us what we want, and we keep telling you what we want and what we need, and you keep telling us, no, niggas, you don't need that, you need this. And I think that's the disconnect. You fuckers don't listen.
They don't think they have to listen. They think they got it figured out. They know what we need, and we need to just listen to them.
Well, okay. Well, how'd that work out for y'all with Bernie? how y'all enjoying President Biden? I'm just saying.
Hey, Bernie did the same shit. Yeah, he was the reason why he was on his ass because of this class reductionism. Like the reason why he was struggling with the black vote was because of class reductionism. He had to get a piece of the black. Then he shit to the Latinos, and that shit ain't helping.
The progressives are just as dumb as the regular Democrats, right? After every election, there's no fucking autopsy, and they don't get it, and then you just get the same fucking results. So I don't care. Like I said, I'm really getting to the point that I just don't care. I'm trying to work through my apathy, but this shit is just like, how do y'all not care when this shit really affects your families? Like, is it just that people are so busy on their day-to-day that they don't look up and see like how fucked up shit is? Or is it just that they really believe that things should never get better? Because if you just believe that your life should suck and your kid's life should suck, then fuck, goddamn, that's depressing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to add on to what you said about the whole Bernie Sanders thing, I think one of the examples they used as someone that like frames this shit badly is Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden won. So, all right. What is Kyle giving us this
Joe
advice?
Biden and Kamala Harris, they both framed that shit poorly. Mm-hmm. And yep, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so why the fuck is Kyle Kulinski acting like he's some like political like expert? Because he's wrong about this shit. He's been wrong this whole fucking time.
He's just right in his circles because he don't have no real black people around here.
I just want to ask Kyle, like real shit, not talking about specific race policy. How does that get me reparations? Like, so I should frame reparations that everybody gonna get reparations, and that's when we gonna get our justice. So basically, like everybody gonna get it. Like real, I'm talking. I ain't gonna talk about slavery or race or class. If I mean not fuck class, I'm talking about lineage or fucking like where you come from. So the way I get reparations is not to talk about my specific group and why we should get it. It's to say everybody should get reparations, and that's gonna bring me closer to it. What is he? He trying to get motherfuckers to like? What are you talking about? Like real shit? Like you trying to get me to shut up? You trying to get Negroes to shut up, man? And it's not working, Cal. You done read the Yale study, and the niggas done made them whole equation. They made a whole mathematical equation to be like, yo, this is the mathematical equation. We got a math equation this to make an equation that makes sense. That why you can't talk about black people's issues? Like, come on, this shit is crazy.
Guess, like I said, this is all dumb. Identity politics is dumb for what you guys are talking about. I agree, identity politics, because the only identity that matters that should be addressed in this country is black issues. Sorry. That's it.
And more specifically for the
descendants. So chattel slavery. Thank you. Only ones that's it. Because we are the only group of people in this country who are owed anything. After that, everything should be class. So you should stop actually including black issues when you talk about this shit. So I agree with that part. Don't talk about it as a black issue. Don't talk about anything as a black issue anymore. Just fucking give us reparations. That's it. That's it. That's where we're at. Because y'all don't want to fix us, so just give us reparations. We'll fix ourselves with that shit. Then you can do all the class policies that you want. And until you guys start talking about doing wealth redistribution in a form of a check for class policies, I don't want to hear shit neither. And white people, you should demand wealth redistribution in the form of a check because we got the money.
Yeah. Hey, John, I was going to say for Kyle, free healthcare for all is your reparations. That's what it is.
Yo, take your Medicare Part A. Shut the fuck.
Oh my God. I cannot.
Reparations though, but I want them to. I want them to go to motherfucking Native Americans with this same shit. Be like, yo, listen, yo, the reason why we came and took your land was because of capitalism. All the evils that happened to you, we killed you, put you in the war, took your land, and capitalism. We on your land now. There's nothing we can do about that right now. We have to restart and give a structure where your land is for everybody now.
Yes!
Some hierarchy structure. Even though you had
yes! Let's spread those black hills around.
Real shit, like let's lay that down. Like, nah, fuck all that. The priest ain't no more chief in your system no more. Everybody gets everything now, because that's the reason why we took your land. What?
Yes.
Niggas would be like, yo, what? I'm about to get a bow and arrow and I'm gonna bow your ass. I'm gonna bow your ass right now. You get the fuck off my reservation with this bullshit. I'm gonna bow your ass right now. Like, real shit, like. But they wouldn't come to me with this bullshit. They wouldn't come to us with this bullshit. My people with this bullshit. This is that bullshit. He know what the fuck he's doing. That's fucked up, bro. That is fucked up. They know they wrong for this shit. Real shit. He trying to make a fucking mathematical equation. Him, Crystal Ball, all these class professors trying to find a way to not pay us back. For me, that they owe us. Like, man, fuck that, man. I'm standing on this shit. Nobody in this fucking group, nobody in this country, minority group, quote unquote minority group, got anything for the Pacific group by fucking asking for it, but not talking about the Pacific group. This is America. Where the fuck are you from, Cal? You from upstate. You from Lil Jamar from in the project, but Lil Jamar in them projects over there. You feel me? Like real shit, probably trying to rob you. So shut up. You want the niggas to rob you over there? Give them their reparations, motherfucker. What's wrong with you? Like real shit, like you think a $50 minimum wage is gonna stop them niggas from trying to come rob you? Think the project's still gonna be there? You trying to change
what's $15 an hour with a wife and 2 kids?
This is a real shit.
$15 an hour ain't shit for you as a single person. What's $15 an hour with a spouse and 2 kids?
You and your wife get $15 an hour. See, I make $30 an hour now. I got 2 children and shit, trying to raise them in an apartment. Girls should have a car.
No. At $15 an hour, you cannot afford childcare. So your wife or whoever decides to stay home with the child is staying home for the first 5 years. Yep. So who is supporting a spouse and a child or 2 kids for those first 5 to 7 years for them to get into school? So whoever stays home can go back to work. Yeah, this is a joke.
The poor white in Mississippi.
You understand what I'm saying? So we need to have real conversations about how money works.
I can tell you how it's going to work out. I mean, it's going to work out in divorce and you having to figure out child support out of that $15 an hour. That's how it's going to work out.
That's it. Because that's
15 going to turn to 7 real quick. That shit going to turn. Damn, I get $7 an hour. I get minimum wage now. Real shit. Like you should have married your wife. I ain't had the money to marry you. Well, fuck you. Huh? That's how that shit go. You know that shit go.
You don't have the money to marry her, but then if you just have a baby, you ain't shit for just having a baby, and then you still got to pay child. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't win for losing these days. Like, if you try to do shit the right way, get married, have a family, but then you still can't afford to support your family, you ain't shit because you ain't providing, right? But then on the other hand, if you stay by yourself, then it's all nobody wants to get married, nobody wants to have a family, nobody cares about family values. Like, you can't win. Sorry, go ahead. I feel like we're getting off the topic.
I know.
Well, I just think about that.
Go ahead, John. Oh, go ahead, John.
I just wanted to say one thing about the shit, motherfucking like the thing about it is that the single moms in the hood got work 2 jobs. Like all the single black women I know, like growing up throughout my whole adulthood. I'm 31, so I say the fucking past 13 years I've been an adult. Every damn near, I say about 2 out of 3 black women I know work 2 jobs for like horrible wages, like 2 jobs, like all of them. Even they got a decent job. Like I go to real shit, like I work for the government from 8 to 9. Then I go work at Walmart. Like what the fuck? Like black women though, white women don't experience like the white women I came in contact with. This personal experience though, but I think the data shows this shit though. The data shows the wealth disparity and the income disparity between black and white women, between Negroes and other immigrant women. You know,
and even when white women work, it's more just to add extra money to the household. It's not so much to support the whole household. That's the money they spend on stuff that like their extra shit. It's not like a white woman is not working to help pay her husband pay the rent.
But see that, but black men, see that, but at the end of the day, see that our fucking wealth level is so low that on many fucking graphs and shit like that, black men on average, especially if you add in, like y'all always say, add in the black prisoners. That's that.
Oh, when you add in prisoners, it's
they
over.
They make less than white women. income is less. Like you know, regular grass without the fucking prisoners, because income is less than white women. And you like, and now you want to play these games? Like, nah, man, you you ain't doing that with us. You ain't doing that. You gotta make my sisters right. You gotta make everybody right. Fucking with us, like, you ain't playing this game. You ain't playing this game, man.
What you got, Matt?
I was just gonna say, with this is how crazy the situation is, right? So if you were to argue that point about, you know, raising the family on the $15 minimum wage thing to like a conservative, what they would argue is that that person is making minimum wage because they're unskilled labor and they should not be in a position to raise a family off, like they shouldn't be.
But we already know that that's bullshit. I get what you're saying though, Matt. Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. Here's the thing about that though. If we look at how the situation is now, where minimum wage is what, like $10, the people that are considered to have skills that are currently making like $15 an hour, like what the fuck are we doing with our current economic system if that's the argument someone would make about trying to just lift it up to the $15 an hour? Like, so our people that have skills that are supposed to be in a position to have a family currently are making like $15 an hour. The thing that we're saying is the ideal for like a minimum wage. This shit is crazy, and none of this is anything that is enough to raise a fucking family off of.
That's the basic of what we're talking about. None of this is enough for you to raise a family off of. Like, period. Yeah. Like 15, the 10 ain't it, 15 ain't it. And the thing, and what you were talking about with, they're saying, well, people shouldn't be working those jobs. We know people have fucking master's degrees working at Starbucks, hoping and praying that they'll finally be able to get into a decent job. So let's quit playing these games, right? Yeah. Listen, if they stop picking up trash for the next month, how fucked are we? You understand what I'm saying? So let's stop undervaluing work, right? A lot of people in this country don't cook. If there's no more restaurants, servers, places you can go get food, a lot of people will be fucked. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to stop this hierarchy. Like all labor should be valuable. So
well, I think that what we really need to do is reevaluate, like, what exactly is like the type of wage someone can actually live on. Like we need to change what we consider like the poverty line, because right now it's like $13,000 a year, which is fucking
insane. But you can't live off of that. Like, you can't live off of that.
I don't
you can't live off of that, owning your own home and having a car to pay off. Because I own my house and I don't pay rent, and with my taxes and stuff, I still can't do 13. I think the lowest I've ever done is probably like 17. And that's still with like gifts. Like, there's still money coming in elsewhere. You understand what I'm saying? But like on paper, the lowest I've been able to do is like 17. That's like owning a house and like having like a cheap car.
That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie, real. The fact that you're a Negro make it worse, but that's crazy as hell. And
honestly, you probably need to. I'm sorry, John.
I was just saying that as far as like government benefits, like Medicaid or fucking food stamps, you understand how poor you gotta be. It's people that live in the ghetto. It's people that live in the projects, right? That got a full-time job. That, you feel me? That can't. You feel me? They got something. They got subsidized housing, but due to their income, they can't get Medicaid. Like, this is like a real reality, like real. So like they work a shitty job. They should work full-time, work their ass off, but make enough to get subsidized housing, but can't get like food stamps, shit like that, based off the income, like real shit. Like,
or they give you food stamps, but they give you like half of it, so you get like $100 a month in food stamps.
Yeah,
heard up, like especially if you feel like that shit. I'm talking about, especially men though, because thing about it, like real, a lot of our programs is targeted towards women with children, not single women, no children. It's targeted with women with children, single mothers with children. Like a lot of our economic programs, they go first, whether it be housing, and they should. I'm not saying that they shouldn't though. But what about the black man that came out of motherfucker, that single black, or that single black woman that got no kids?
And that's why over 50% of
sisters.
American homeless are Black people. That's exactly why, John, you hit the nail on the head.
Black men that's really struggling at work, they ass to try to get their mama crib. Them like real shit, like work citizens, like shouldn't even be like, eating the pain from slavery. Gotta go work at the fucking warehouse, lift boxes for $10 an hour, work 80 hours a week, and can't even afford to live by themselves. Like grown fucking. I live in the projects though. This shit is like, hey, man, this shit is fucked up. Man, these motherfuckers don't even know, man. This is fuck Cal. Fuck this nigga. My bad.
Go ahead, Mud. What you got?
No, I was just gonna say, like, the poverty line should be somewhere around like 30 to maybe 35,000 a year.
So I live in Los Angeles, so $40,000 a year in Los Angeles is poverty.
Yeah.
So I think 40,000 would be good. And if you just move somewhere that has a better standard of living, then cool, you live off that 40K.
Yeah.
Which even somewhere in the middle of nowhere, 40K ain't that much. If you really think about it, especially if you have like children and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a fucking family and you're making like that type of money, like, and you can't get access to like food stamps and shit like that, like you're struggling to put food on the table, for real, for real.
Yeah, for real. I agree. And if you don't have to put food on the table, that's like a whole extra pile of money that goes back into your household.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's roll back through. Let's get through the rest of this.
And there's going to be plenty of people who don't like the results of this, but I can't stress it enough. It doesn't really matter if you like it or not. You know, and one of the main things that I care about on this show is to try to make it so that the left is not obsessed with being an edgy little subculture group. Because I actually care about winning, and I actually care about getting our policies implemented.
You obviously don't care
what that
about
means
good
is
policy.
We need to adjust. We need to be strategic. We need to be intelligent. We need to know what to do and when to do it, what to say and when to say it. And if you want to be an edgy subculture group, by all means, that's your prerogative. Then you use whatever slogans you want, you use whatever approach you want. But my point is just don't expect to win and don't expect to actually get your stuff implemented if that's the route you go.
Well, you're not getting your stuff implemented either.
Again, another great example is if you want to do the ACOB stuff, all cops are bastards, and you want to do like the defund the police stuff, that might make you feel good in your little subgroup. And you might think as a matter of principle, this is something I support or whatever it might be. But you're turning off the overwhelming majority of the country if you say stuff like that. And you're turning off the overwhelming majority of the country if you put race before class and before...
You know what used to turn off the majority of the country? Black people voting. Black people living next to white people in being desegregated. You know, remember in the 70s, Joe Biden was talking about not wanting his kids in a racial jungle. Like, so, okay, Kyle, right? Am I wrong? Like, so you're saying the same thing that people were saying before. Like, this is all very racist. Like, it's racist. It's racist light, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much a fuck you to us. Like anybody
I wish John was here today. I'm upset that John D isn't here. I wanted to invite him, but it was so last minute because I think he would have killed this shit.
Yeah. But I mean, like all these, he's basically saying a fuck you to everyone that like got involved in the BLM shit, everyone that like understood like the purpose behind all of this shit. Like as far as what happened with George Floyd and trying to have like some type of police reform, he's saying a big fuck you to all of us.
Pretty much.
And, you know, and I'm not necessarily an abolitionist, but like when the fuck, why, like on what earth does it make sense for me to tell someone that feels that way based off the shit that's been going down that they shouldn't say the shit? Like if they actually want to have a solution for what they're talking about, they shouldn't talk about it. Like what sense does that fucking make? Like we don't see any traction. Like we haven't been talking about it for a long fucking time, and there hasn't been police reform in any fucking way. So like
at all.
I don't fucking know. Like
everything they talk that they do adds more fucking police. Like, oh, police reform. Here's more money for the police. Here's more police.
Yeah, that's their version.
But the gag, but you know what the gag is? As much as they're adding more police, they're not adding more police just for us. We saw what they did to these white people over the summer when they rose up. They're preparing for the hunger. They're preparing for the Mad Max shit.
Oh, definitely.
Like this is they're ramping up to come for you, white people. Like they've been coming for us. This is gonna affect all of you as well. And wait and we already have these Blue Lives Matter laws. When are they gonna start enforcing those as hate crimes? When are they gonna start? Watch, I'm telling you, like this shit is dark days, man, dark days. Unless people start coming up with a vision for the future, and Kyle's vision for the future is garbage because it is incremental at best, and it's not gonna help poor people. Kyle is a middle-class white man trying to tell poor people what they need.
Yeah.
Okay, should I play the rest, or we got? Go ahead, John.
You had something to say, cousin. Like,
well, I was just gonna say on top of that, what you said, Sam. Like, white people should look at that BLM shit as a trial run, and honestly, like,
they was fucking up them white ladies, them white moms,
and them old white people. Like, they didn't really give a fuck, and they wasn't even going hard. Like, they wasn't like literally just letting the bullets fly and. Like,
they didn't even really give them the nigga treatment. It was almost, but it wasn't quite there because it wasn't quite Ferguson.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like white people need to pay attention to that shit because, like, even if you wanted to rise up against a
tyrannical government,
yeah, all that shit y'all be talking about, all that malicious shit y'all be on in Kentucky. Like, the police can neutralize you very quickly. Like, they could call in the National Guard and shut shit down very quickly.
Oh, did you see the thing about Biden wanting them to be able to come in and take people's guns with no warrants? And I was like, Ruby Ridge. We're gonna have a Ruby Ridge in 2022.
I'm telling you.
Ruby Ridge. And if y'all don't know Ruby Ridge, look it up, baby. Because it was Ruby Ridge. And after Ruby Ridge, we fucking got Waco. And Waco gave us Timothy McVeigh, which gave us the Oklahoma City bombing.
Hey, Sam, you always bring that shit up, though. That Tennessee bombing, that shit was really
Oklahoma City. Oh, Tennessee, yeah. Oh, yeah. Please, thank you. You know what used to turn off the majority of the country? Black people voting. Black people living next to white people being desegregated. Remember in the 70s, Joe Biden was talking about not wanting his kids in a racial jungle. Like, so, okay, Kyle, right? Am I wrong? Like, so you're saying the same thing that people were saying before. Like, this is all very racist. Like, it's racist. It's racist light, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much a fuck you to us. Like, anybody
I wish John was here today. I'm upset that John D isn't here. I wanted to invite him, but it was so last minute because I think he would have killed this shit.
Yeah. But I mean, like, all these, he's basically saying a fuck you to everyone that, like, got involved in the BLM shit, everyone that, like, understood, like, the purpose behind all of this shit. Like, as far as what happened with George Floyd and trying to have, like, some type of police reform, he's saying a big fuck you to all of us.
Pretty much.
And, and I'm not necessarily an abolitionist, but, like, when the fuck, why, like, on what earth does it make sense for me to tell someone that feels that way based off the shit that's been going down that they shouldn't say the shit? Like, if they actually want to have a solution for what they're talking about, they shouldn't talk about it. Like, what sense does that fucking make? Like, we don't see any traction. Like, we haven't been talking about it for a long fucking time, and there hasn't been police reform in any fucking way. So, like,
at all.
I don't fucking know. Like,
everything that they do adds more fucking police. Like, police reform. Here's more money for the police. Here's more police.
Yeah, that's their version.
But the gag, but you know what the gag is? As much as they're adding more police, they're not adding more police just for us. we saw what they did to these white people over the summer when they rose up. They're preparing for the hunger. They're preparing for the Mad Max shit.
Oh, definitely.
Like this is they're ramping up to come for you, white people. Like they've been coming for us. This is gonna affect all of you as well. And wait till and we already have these Blue Lives Matter laws. When are they gonna start enforcing those as hate crimes? When are they gonna start? Watch, I'm telling you, like this shit is dark days, man, dark days. Unless people start coming up with a vision for the future, and Kyle's vision for the future is garbage because it is incremental at best, and it's not gonna help poor people. Kyle is a middle-class white man trying to tell poor people what they need.
Yeah.
Okay, should I play the rest, or we got it? Go ahead, John.
You had something to say, cousin? Like,
well, I was just gonna say on top of that, or what you said, Sam. Like, white people should look at that BLM shit as a trial run, and honestly, like.
They was fucking up them white ladies, them white moms.
And them old white people, like, they didn't really give a fuck. And they wasn't even going hard. Like, they wasn't, like, literally just letting, the bullets fly. And like,
they didn't even really give them the nigga treatment. It was almost, but it wasn't quite there. Because it wasn't quite Ferguson.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, white people need to pay attention to that shit because, like, even if you wanted to rise up against a
tyrannical government,
yeah, all that shit y'all be talking about, all that malicious shit y'all be on in Kentucky, like the police can neutralize you very quickly. Like they could call in the National Guard and shut shit down very quickly.
Oh, did you see the thing about Biden wanting them to be able to come in and take people's guns with no warrants? And I was like, Ruby Ridge. Ruby Ridge. We're gonna have a Ruby Ridge in 2022.
I'm telling you.
Ruby Ridge. And if y'all don't know Ruby Ridge, look it up, baby. Because it was Ruby Ridge. And after Ruby Ridge, we fucking got Waco. And Waco gave us Timothy McVeigh, which gave us the Oklahoma City bombing.
Hey Sam, you always bring that shit up though. The Tennessee bombing, that shit was really
Oklahoma City. Oh, Tennessee, yeah. Oh yeah. Please, thank you. What's today? Today is our recording day is April 29th. So please remember that 5 months ago, a whole white man blew up Tennessee and we still not talking about it. Blew up downtown 5 months ago. 5 months ago.
You know what's crazy?
We talking about the Capitol riots more than that. Go ahead, Mud. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just editing our last video and I was putting that clip of that explosion. Like right before we got on here, I was doing that.
We got to keep showing it so people remember. Never forget.
Yo, they blew that bitch up though. That's crazy. Nobody talking. That's crazy. Like, yo, Joe Biden really made everybody go to sleep. Like,
remember when Timothy McVeigh blew up that building? Like, we remember what Timothy McVeigh looks like. Like, I still have that burned in my memory. I don't remember what the dude who blew up Tennessee looked like from 5 months ago. I remember seeing a picture maybe once or twice, but I don't.
That's crazy. Like, that's crazy. On top of the mass shootings, and the reason why Asian hate is so bad is because the white dude shot up hella massage parlors and killed all these Asian women.
And he still hasn't been charged with a hate crime.
A universal approach. But guess what, guys? At the end of the day, it's all gravy anyway. It's all positive anyway. And the reason it's positive is that it is true when you bring about class justice and when you have universal programs and universal policies, it has been empirically shown, if they're truly class-focused and truly universal, that does have a disproportionate impact on racial injustice, and it helps bring about more racial justice. Now, again, that doesn't mean that every race issue is solved if you fix the class problem and you have universal programs, but it does mean a lot of them are. It definitely means a lot of them are. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Okay,
so we do have to address
Black people
the
get
other
killed in the street by
issues
police.
that are racialized,
Black people
we
stop
do
being
have to
poor.
address them. The ones that aren't fixed by a class and universal approach, we're going to have to address them on their own merits and fix it on its own merits. We have to do that.
Like
but just understand that.
Oh, but you're not for reparations.
You do bring about a lot more racial justice just by doing the universal approach and the class approach, which turns out benefits everybody as well. So, I mean, it's amazing findings and
amazing.
But I also thought it was relatively intuitive as well. That by definition, to bring in more people, you want to be less identitarian and less sectarian, and that's what they find here. So, and just to be clear, just so everybody understands, they didn't go into this study with that in mind. Like they weren't trying to prove.
How do you know? No, whatever. Fuck, get us fuck out of here. You don't know what the fuck they were thinking before they did that shit. Shut the fuck up. That's stupid. Okay, I'm done with this one. So okay, so let's just say this. None of the policies that have been presented let's not even talk about closing the racial wealth gap, right? Let's just take closing the racial wealth gap off the table, right? Even though that's the only thing that I really give a fuck about as a Black person, but we want that done through reparations, right? So from now on, let's just say reparations is our number one, which it has always been. We're not budging on shit the fuck else you talk about unless reparations is, seriously dealt with. After that, we can talk about all the class shit you want. And if they're right about Sheila Jackson Lee, then you fucking white liberal racists should be pushing for HR 40 to pass so us niggers will shut the fuck up and get on board with you on this class shit. Because if that shit don't pass, I'm not, nope. Not gonna fight against you, but I ain't gonna be out here rah-rahing what you motherfuckers needed. So, give me a second. I'm like, I don't even know where I want to go from here. So basically, in the end, Kyle, your whole approach is bullshit. You're basically saying if we do universal policies, that's gonna mainly help racial issues. That is a lie. Let me tell you why. Because none of the policies, again, that you guys are presenting raise the lower percentiles of this country. So those white people that are negative wealth in that 1 percentile, and those Black people that are negative wealth in that 1 percentile, none of these policies changes their wealth position. So the poor whites in Appalachia, they shit don't get better. And the poor fucking people in the projects and in the poor Black people in the South who've always been poor, none of these things change their fucking wealth position. None of it. The trailer park whites that are poor, none of it. So you're talking about class. What class policy are Democrats talking about that raises the bottom 1 percentile of people? Percentile, decile, quintile, whatever you want to put it. What raises the bottom of Black and white Americans? The bottom, the number one, the very bottom. Let's just start there. What are you proposing? College is not going to do that. Healthcare is not going to do that. What's the other fucking thing they keep talking about? $15 an hour is not going to do that. I'm sorry, because a lot of these people live places that there's no jobs. So without a federal jobs guarantee, the $15 an hour is cute, but California is at 15. People still struggling here. Like $15 an hour being raised does not even affect California because we're already here. And people still struggling. So until people like Kyle and the Hill get serious about policies that are going to raise people who have negative wealth, not just Black people, white people too. What are you doing to fix poor white people who have negative wealth? None of these things that you proposed are it. What y'all got?
I mean, this is just a whole display. You know what I mean? Just Cal Kulinski, Kulinski doing what he do best. You know what I mean? Like doubling down on this class reductionism, this anti-Black bullshit. You know what I mean? Trying to bring a study from Yale. it has a lot of graphs on it. I ain't gonna lie, it has graphs that's like, yo, real shit that kind of shows us what we already know. When you talk about black people issues, white people don't like it. But he's trying to say, like, you won't get anything passed. The way to get things passed is to pass, for me, spend your political capital on what, for me, what the white left, for me, like what the left want, the white left want for these universal programs. And then after universal programs, you can get the reparations. No. Fuck that. No. Real shit. Like, and the thing of he's framing is like he's trying to take the place of the neo-libs that he cry about all the time. That do incremental steps. Like, you know what? If we pass a motherfucking public option, you might get Medicare Part A. Like I said, Medicare Part A for all. You might get that. You know what I mean? Like, we passed the fucking $15 minimum wage. Or let me see, Joe Biden talking about $15 minimum wage, even though I know he ain't really pushing for it. But at the end of the day, this shit is all like he's all trying to mix it up to get Negroes as a group of people to be like, yo, stop fighting for your specific shit that's owed to you. Shut up, just get on board with our shit. Because like real shit, like he's trying, and he's dog whistling to his base, like saying like real shit, talking about race shit too much, like to turn off the motherfucking the group of people that think that black people not humans, like the people that think black people not humans and never gonna think they humans, like we gotta argue with them. This is the reason why Kulinski and Destiny can get on the stream with a white person that think that we not that we're subhuman and argue with them to convince them of our humanity, and black people be like, you on my side. What? Like, man, fuck that. No, we gonna stand strong where we at. I don't give a fuck. We gonna fight this fight from right here. We want our specific shit, from specific damages, and at the end of the day, this shit it'll make the country better, point blank, period. Like, that's real change. Like, we standing fast. Like, police killings, you try to bring up police killings, health care disparities, motherfucking housing disparities, all this shit. No, the first step is reparations, period. Like, and he's trying to put a fuse on that, like, real shit, because he heard this. He's talking this anti-black class production and shit. So that's all I got to say about this shit. We out here.
Are y'all looking at this graph that I just pulled up? Do you see this treatment effect by race, right? So blacks, class, we go for it. Race, we go for it. Class and race, we go for it. All non-white, kind of center right. Non-white, Hispanic, go for class, they fall to the left. Now start looking at Hispanics, right? You talk about class, that shit goes to the left. They don't fuck with class or race. Look, AAPI, when they talk about class, they go to the right a little bit, but when you talk about race, they go to the left, like white people. Then class and race, it falls to the right. Look at this, in American Indians, they like white people. Look, talk about race, way over. They don't fuck with us at all. At all. Yep, look at it, American. And then class, they fall right in the center. Why? Because they fucking have caste and shit. Look at this shit. So basically what Kyle is saying is white people go for it. Because this is mainly white people. Because when you hit into the non-Hispanic whites, no, they're a little bit over on race, but mainly because this pulls in these fucking rich ass minorities. These fucking rich ass people of color who are anti-black racists. So all the people who are anti-black in their countries are against race. Look at it. It's right here in the data. Am I wrong? Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mud. I wanted you to go, but when John was talking, I was looking at this and I was like, oh my God, you guys, this is literally showing us what we say. That people of color are anti-black.
Yeah.
Like they go against race. This is exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I like this study.
It's crazy. I like this study a lot too. Like,
I like it when I take it and use it for my shit. This shows what we've been saying. This right here shows that the People of Color Coalition is bullshit. Because if they don't care about race, people of color is a race coalition. So if they don't care about race and the framing of race, how can you be in a coalition with them?
Exactly.
Boom. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, KKK Kulinski. I appreciate you. Okay, go ahead, bud. Go ahead and close it out. I'm sorry. Sorry, that just jumped out. That shit just like slapped me in the face.
Okay, well, we all know he's lying by overstating how much these policies could actually benefit us. But he did something that I think is very interesting in there. Like, he spent this whole time basically saying we should do universal policies and we should never talk about race because it turns off people. Then he let it slip out that there are certain things that the universal policies won't be able to cover, and we have to deal with them individually based on it being a race issue. But he doesn't really go into, well, how the fuck do you actually talk about that then? If you're telling us that we can't talk about race, and then you're saying that there are specific things that need to be addressed that are race issues, then how the fuck are we supposed to do that based on what you're telling us? You're telling us basically to do nothing. And this is why we can't fuck with you. This is why we can't support you. And this is why you motherfuckers lose every goddamn election.
You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
So thank you for joining us at Reset Race with this bullshit with Kyle. I feel like we really broke this down, and I'll try to, one of us will remember to put the link to this study in the description box so you guys can come back and check it out. And yeah, that's it, and that's all. So thank you for joining us. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, because, you know, we are not growing at all. And it is what it is. So, you know, help us out. You know, if you like the work that we're doing, send it to your favorites. And for those of you who are really pissed off that we're coming for your favorites, please, please, please send the video to your favorites, because we like that smoke. And even though they're smart enough to not come and attack us directly, we know that y'all be catching what we saying, because y'all stay out here. So that's what it is. It is what it is. Thank you. Good night.
Listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, back on the grill again. We grilling them, You're listening to Reset Race. Adults need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Penniers, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG, the wise one. Cousin Mother, intellectual. Samantha, bringing fire. Anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. To win, you need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. Adults need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.